Hello, everybody. Chuck Anderson here, and welcome back. This is the Creative Collaboration Show. This is the show for business owners and entrepreneurs and coaches and consultants and experts who are on their entrepreneurial journey, wherever that may be. You might be at the beginning of your journey. You might be a year or two into your journey. You might be decades into your journey. And this show serves business owners. Now, regardless of what stage of business you are in, there are challenges that come up along the way that challenge our sustainability, challenge our profitability, even challenge how we feel ourselves as business owners and as leaders and as people who are out there trying to create something significant. And so we're going to talk a lot about that today. Today, my guest is Marie Fratoni, who is a transformational business coach and has so much really cool stuff to share with you. And she works with and serves clients to help them create that sustainability, that profitability, and a thriving business. So, Marie, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you as my guest today.
Awesome. I appreciate the opportunity. Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. So I think, a great place to start is your story. Everyone has an entrepreneurial story. I know what mine was. This isn't about me. What's your story? What's your entrepreneurial story that has led you to do the work that you're doing now?
Well, that's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing this a long time, but it hasn't always looked like this. But I would say one of the things that I've always been involved in is educational service, training, coaching, presenting, making a difference in communities, in colleges, in businesses, and now in the entrepreneurial world. So it's kind of had this arc. And I've been doing business development and sales pretty much my whole entire life. I've had to be accountable for my own revenue my whole entire life. Even when I worked in other organizations, I was in the sales end of it. So I was accountable for revenue generation. And I did a lot of sales training with major companies around the globe. And now I love teaching my clients how they can actually make money with their enterprise, their entrepreneur journey. So, I had to learn. I had a lot of good skills. I had the right ingredients, if you will. I had to work on myself a lot. I had to work on business or just my own presentation. And I think there were some days there that were not exactly pretty. They were very challenging. And when I really went off on my own full time, when I let go of the other stuff, the other revenue streams that I had for my business, it was challenging. I had some sleepless nights there. And I knew at that point that I really had to hunker down, hire a business coach and say, help me figure this out because I don't want to be in a situation where I'm in terror every month. Am I going to be able to pay the mortgage? Am I ever going to pay the car note? Am I going to pay my health insurance? All of that. And so what I find is that a lot of the people that I work with have had really good jobs in corporate America. They've been very successful, or they've been accomplished in some way. They might not be at the C-suite, but they've done really well. And now they're doing their own thing for whatever reason. And then when we're accountable for our own revenue, if they've never had to sell before, if they've never had to interact with clients and get people through the pipeline, so to speak, that's very challenging. And so if I can take some of the examples from my life and some of the training that I've done and help them create and be able to forecast their income and even create their financial model, because a lot of people don't, they just start playing, they just start serving people. But in the moment, it's great. But in the future, it's like, oh my God, I didn't plan for that. So, I had to learn those things myself, and I've spent a lot of time with different coaches, different training schools, different certifications to really get what I say good at what I do and really help my clients build those businesses.
Mm.
It's kind of a shorter answer to a big question.
It is a big question, and you answered it wonderfully. It's not an easy one because there's so much, but I can relate to everything you said. I've had the sleepless nights. I've wondered how I was going to pay the bills and pay the team and, all of the things that rest on our shoulders as business owners. And it can be kind of lonely sometimes because we don't go to our fellow business owners and say, "Oh man, I'm really having the struggle today." We always putting on our best face and promoting ourselves and trying to get new clients and all of that. And there isn't always that opportunity. So man, I can really relate to that. And also reaching that point of, oh, I need some help here. Maybe I need a business coach. Maybe I need someone who can help guide me through this. And that your origin story and mine are very similar in that way. I had a lot of those same struggles, and it was a coach that lifted me out of it.
Yeah, you made me think of something that, at the time I moved to Atlanta from Massachusetts, and I bought a house and everything was fine and I was all excited to be here. At the time I was still running my business, but I worked full time for a financial accounting firm as a headhunter. I was their top biller in the office here in Atlanta. And it was so much fun. I mean, I loved the job. It was just really great. I mean, it was all these great, we built finance teams for companies, so it was really great. What I noticed was I had no cash flow. I had no control over when that client, the corporate client, the big giant, was going to pay their bill. And so what I want everybody to know is sometimes the big clients don't pay their bills. But my bills kept coming in. On the first of the month, I had those things. So there was a flag in the sand moment. And that's when I did have to make that phone call to a good colleague of mine, a good friend. I was petrified to do it. And I called her and I said, with my hand shaking, we didn't have iPhones or smartphones at the time. I just said, Lynn, I need a favor. She goes, okay. And then I was like, I just couldn't even get it out of my throat. And I said, I need you to pay my mortgage, my car note, and my health insurance. And then there was dead silence. And then she goes, okay. And so she knew who I was. We had some relationship capital built over the years. But that was my flag in the sand moment. Said, I just can't do that again. I mean, I felt terrible inside doing it. I just was like, yick, big ick factor. And that was when I decided to really reach out to a business coach and said, put me together again. And, that was a flag in the sand moment. And I think I share that story often because it resonates with audiences. And it's amazing how many people will either call me or come up to me after I speak and they'll say, I'm making that same phone call tonight to my mother, my father, my sister, my brother, my pastor. I mean, there's a lot of people that get into that space. What if we didn't have to do that? What if we had clear sailing all the way? I mean, we're going to have hiccups. I mean, life is life, right? But it doesn't have to be that drastic where I was like petrified. I bought a house, I'm going to go to a homeless shelter. I bought a house, I'm going to go to a homeless shelter. I mean, it was a scary time.
I've had to make calls like that. And wow, it brings back memories because it's not an easy thing to do. And it's a thing that once you do it, you swear, I'm never doing that again. I have done it multiple times. So swearing that I was never going to do it again didn't actually help. But I say this because I think so many people that are listening in right now can relate to this because that describes sort of the ups and downs of being a business owner. I still wouldn't have it any other way. Having been in corporate and having been independent, I choose independent and the struggles that come with it over any day in the corporate world for sure. And other people may believe the opposite, but that's anyone who tells you it's easy either hasn't done it or they're not telling you the entire truth. There are easy moments and there are fun moments, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. But those I've definitely had to make those phone calls. What in terms of that, because I know now that you do the coaching and you're working with business owners, and I just find it fascinating that people who've gone through their own struggles, how they end up, one of the very first things they think of is, what, I'm going to help others who are going through this, what I just went through and this journey I just went through, and I'm going to go help others because I know there's others that are going through that as well. And I just, first of all, thank you for doing that, and it's amazing. And that's really what motivated me to do what I do as well. what are you hearing? So of the people that are showing up in your world and they're like, Marie, help me, or I'm having this struggle. Like, what are you hearing from them? What are the some of the struggles and the challenges that they are experiencing that they're coming to you with?
Well, I mean, a lot of things. And I thank you for asking that question because I think it's really good to get the word out. A lot of times when I have something that I think is happening to me, I think it's just happening to me. It's not
Mm.
just happening to me. It's in the collective consciousness right now. I don't care if you're in a different country or whatever. There's a lot of like people have constraint, we have a lot of constraints on right now, like afraid, what's the economy going to do? Am I going to be able to make it? Are people going to be able to hire me? I don't know what's happening in the world. Are we going to have a world? Are we going to, there's just so many of that that's happening. Plus, our marketplace today is so cluttered. I use this example a lot. We all have one of these pretty much. And the whole entire world is sitting in there in our hand. At any given moment, it's like ping, 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 trying to get our attention. There's like nothing that's missing. And I think what happens is it can be exhausting to try to stay connected and try to be aware of a lot of things. There's so many news outlets. There's like 9 million coaches in the world. And then there's a lot of, I think, some newbies that are coming up the chute that are adorable. And they have these little digital things that say, you want to make $30,000 in 5 minutes? Here's my script. Download it. Well, I've done that to see what they offer. They don't have the gravitas, they don't have the experience. They have probably well intentioned, I mean, we're all out here to do our business and make money and have fun. But I just think that there's some things that are missing. And because it looks like a pretty shiny object or whatever, I think sometimes people fall for that and they end up booking in with the wrong people that could actually take them a lot longer to get profitable and sustainable. So I think we all have to vet people. It's very noisy out there. The marketplace is very noisy and everybody looks the same because we try to be cookie cutter. And I think we need to be ourselves and play to our strengths and look at how can our strengths really make a difference for us and for our people. Even the way we dress. I mean, I have some clients that are pretty edgy. I mean, they wear some pretty far out things. But if they dressed up like, the corporate boardroom, I mean, people would go, really? I mean, it's just not who they are. So, I mean, play to the edginess, or play to the straightness or whatever it is, it's just, we have to be who we are.
Absolutely. And I spent time early in my career trying to be my mentor, and he was amazing on stage. And when I got on stage, I channeled him and tried to be him. And it got me to a point, but it never really connected until I dropped all of that and just started being myself. So thank you for saying that, because I think it's really important that we do play to our strengths and that we are who we are in this. And so, what would you say to people who are kind of in their journey right now? They're having some of the struggles that we have been talking about. What do you think would be their first step or some of their next steps in terms of turning things around?
Well, you can always reach out and have a conversation. I mean, I don't know. I'm a big community gal. I would not be who I am without community. So I'd probably just watch cooking shows on TV and sit around on the sofa and eat chocolate. Um, but I think, inside of our communities, I think you've got to align with the right community or communities. There's lots of different ones. And I think what people try to do sometimes is tough it out. They play the Lone Ranger, they, kind of suffer in silence. Sometimes people are just really curious, but they don't know where to go. So, I mean, I think so many people offer complimentary consultations of whatever sort. It's great to have those because even even if you're interviewing for a job, it's really fun to go sport fishing and go interview for places. And if you get the interview, it's like you learn so much on the interview that you can bring to the next one, and you bring to the next one, and you bring to the next one. So we all have, I mean, I think one of my strengths is the acquired knowledge that I have, because I've been around for a long time and I've worked in several different industries. And, from nonprofit to college to private sector to entrepreneur world. And so nothing surprises me at this point. But I think most people try to figure it out by themselves. You know, they can get a coach, they can have complimentary sessions, they can go to, there's so many online conferences. I think it's key is what do we want to know? What would make a difference in our business? Uh, where do we think we can find that? Who do we know that does that? And to really start and build that professional network as we have. And here we are. You
Mhm.
know, there's talent everywhere.
I love that message because what I really hear in this is that the solution to whatever you're going through could be that connecting with somebody else, whether it be a coach or a consultant, having that conversation. It's having a conversation with someone else. And by the way, if you're listening to this and you want to have a conversation with Marie, check the show notes beneath this video. And in our podcast, we have all of her contact information there because that would be a great step, especially if you are resonating with what she is saying here today. But I think even bigger picture here, Marie, is what so many people call themselves solopreneurs or self-made this, or, and it really communicates this singleness that this, I did it myself. And there may have been a point, I can't remember, but there probably was a point earlier in my career when I was thinking that same way. And I've come to realize that I haven't achieved anything alone. There's always been other players involved, either partners or team, or there's clients, right? So we can't count that. We didn't do it ourselves, or certainly I haven't. And so, I'm big on relationships. I'm big on partnerships. I'm big on collaborations, even with team, having relationships. So, what I heard you say that it's like, okay, your answer may lie in a conversation with someone else.
Well, I think conversations are transformational. We can never have transformation when we're just in our head. There's no transformation here. It's just information. But when you are in a conversation and somebody else says something, it's like, oh, I never thought of that. Or, oh, that's a great idea. Let me try that. I mean, when you put those minds together, it's really great. In a mastermind, in a group program, in a group event, that it could be an hour event for in a group. A lot can happen like popcorn, it just pops here and pops there. But if I'm over here by myself, sitting on my laptop, sending emails, there's no transformation there, none.
Mm-hmm.
So even if I'm working with AI, there's no transformation there until I make that work for me in my voice and my whatever. So it becomes alive. And it's like, then people are relating to me. I think we play too small a game sometimes. We don't think big enough. And it's like what you do, and you're connecting all these great people together and, manage affiliates and relationships and joint ventures. And I mean, all of that makes a difference for everybody because what's that old saying that says, no man is an island? Well, no woman is either. So, it's like, here we are making a difference.
Absolutely. We're absolutely not islands. And this whole, solopreneur thing, I wish I could just erase that whole that word because it gives newer entrepreneurs, newer business owners the wrong idea. And so if I was to dial the clock back almost 30 years when I started my first business, I was doing things a lot myself, and I would have, knowing what I know now, I would definitely have connected with other like-minded people who are maybe offset my weaknesses. So I'm strong in a place where they're and we kind of like complement each other. One of my biggest mistakes was when I first started doing partnerships was partnering with people who were exactly like me. And then wondering why we were still struggling because we were both strong in the same places. We were both weak in the same places. But having partners that bring something to the table that we don't already have. And so that's played a huge role in my business. How has it played a role in your business, partnering and obviously we went to the relationship part very, very quickly. So, has it played a role, and what would you say to people who are listening in who are still out there doing everything themselves?
Well, I'm a groupie. I'm not somebody who likes to be by myself and spend a lot of time. I like my alone time, especially after I'm running an event. But, I want to share with people, I lead retreats so that I can go and I can eat a meal with people every day for a week. I mean, it's just like really special, you know. Um, so I think, partnerships, I speak a lot at different events, and when I'm invited to speak, that's a partnership. We create the event together. I bring my people, I do whatever I need to do to make that happen. And that's how I connect with people. And then I work the conference. I mean, I'm connecting and trying to make a difference. I just came from California where I was out in Long Beach at a conference, and was a very different type of conference. It wasn't my subject matter, but it was just, I mean, I was gripped by the information, and it was great to connect with people. And they allowed me to make an offer to a program, and several people, accepted that offer. And what that's opened up for me is a whole new group of people, a whole new pile of people. It also opened it up for them as well. And so I think that there's a lot of things that can happen inside of a group, and a group could be 2 or 3 people. It doesn't have to be a big group. Partnerships. I mean, I've been booking speakers and featuring them in the women's network that I run for 40 years. And it's like that makes a difference for people. They have access to my audience, their audience. We come together. So I don't know. I mean, I include different people in my masterminds and give them an opportunity to shine if they're really good at what they do. And I think they have a service that is going to serve my audience. And it's something that I don't do. I want to have that holistic, that well rounded approach. And so I've been doing that for a long time. I don't want to do it all by myself. To me, that's not fun. Some people really like to be by themselves. They are a solopreneur.
I do have my moments where I appreciate my alone time, but I
Yeah.
know that the real productivity comes from when I'm working with others, whether it be my team or my partners. And like you said, being in the affiliate world, it's all about partnerships. It's all about what more can we do with other people's groups and lists, and sometimes integrating into other people's programs. Like we do all of these things. So, and that doesn't usually come just from meeting someone. There's an investment into relationship building and building trust and value and all of that, which is a big part of it. And not being afraid to have those conversations. This being in a digital world, and I had a very, very short time pre-online. I started my business before the internet, just barely. And so you did have to do business face to face. Now you see a lot of people trying to try to get the internet to do the business for them. And, ultimately humans do business with humans. And that's really what it is. So before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we hear a little bit about, your coaching and the programs that you offer. And I think you have a freebie that you have on your website that is very beneficial as well. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Yeah. Well, it's like part of what I do is work as a transformational business coach. I don't just give strategy or how to do things or whatever. That's part of it. I really listen and I can really get what people are up to. And sometimes I might take them a different direction, which opens up a whole new world that might even be better than where they are. And so we do the stuff that we have to do. And then there's who we're being in the matter of our business. Who are we being in the matter of how we show up on a Zoom meeting? Who are we being in when we walk into a conference room? Or, that we work on ourselves so that we shine brightly, because in a dark world right now, it seems that way. We
Mhm.
want to be like the diamond that's sparkling. So on my website, if somebody would like to go there, it's just getclientseverywhere.com. You will see there's a document that says download my free gift, and it's the 17 most ridiculously simple ways to magnify your leadership. And it's a combination of, it's a working document where there's things that you can do, there's things that how you can be, things that you can add to your life that have you show up differently or brighter or quieter or whatever. And people have used it. They print it out and they might take 1 or 2 of those and they'll play with those concepts for a week. But they could use it and say, well, here's 3, or they could use it in a workshop that they're doing. So it's just a gift to help you look at. There's so many things that you can do in a simple way that will alter your molecules. And when your molecules are altered, the world sees you a little differently, or maybe they even see you. So.
Well, to make it easy for everyone who's listening in, we have the links to Marie's website right beneath this video if you're watching it on video. If you're listening on a podcast, just check the player that you're in, and all of Marie's links are there. Her website and her freebie, the 17 ridiculously simple ways to enhance your magnetic leadership. You have that memorized so well. I had to read it. I
I think
love
you
the
said it
title
better
of
than
that. I
I did.
love it, title.
Well, I wanted to add one other thing for the women that might be listening. I do a lot of things with women and women's communities, and I have a complimentary Facebook community that seems to get a lot of play. People share on it, and I kind of post and do some things on it. Anybody's welcome to click on it, but it's called Connect and Prosper Community. My whole stand is about connecting and prospering, because without that connection, nothing's going to happen, really, But you're welcome to go there, Connect and Prosper Community, and say hello.
That would be great. Well, we'll make sure that we include the link to that here as well. And look, this has all been really amazing, and I love your story and your energy and just everything that you bring to the table. And I'm really glad that we're getting to know each other as well, and that we can support each other's businesses as we go forward. Because after all, as we've talked about for the last 26 minutes, that is really what we both believe it takes to succeed. And it's all about the relationships that we can surround ourselves. And you said it, community is such a beautiful word, because what communities are you part of? And I think that's so important. Before I let you go, I wanted to ask you a question that I ask of all my guests. It started off as a social experiment. I didn't know what I thought I was going to get the same answer all the time, and I don't. So I'm very curious. But I ask all my guests, if you were to, out of all of the books that you've ever read that have helped you on your journey, and I know a lot of books have helped me on my journey, if you had to recommend just one book as a must-read recommendation to our listeners, which one would you recommend?
Well, I'm reaching back into my archives.
Mm.
And so I don't know if you might know about this book, but it's one that has been around for a long time, and it's called The Game of Life. It's by Florence Scovel Shinn. And I've been a fan for a long time, and it just really talks about life. And I think it's a book that is about life. It's not necessarily business, but it's about the people business and our own business with ourselves, and what our beliefs are, and how we treat people. It's just got some really wonderful rooted tenets that I think have lasted many, many, many years and have served me greatly. And so I speak about it. Can I give you a bonus book too?
Yes, please.
All right, here's my other bonus book. Anything by Catherine Ponder, I love.
Mm.
So, she again has been around for a long time. She has a book that's called The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity. And I think it's very great to have as a wonderful handbook, especially in those times when we feel like, oh, I lost that client, or my group didn't fill, or that client wanted to cancel, or when we get in that fear mode or whatever. There's some wonderful things, some great affirmations, some spiritual treatments that can really help. And I think it really opens up the space to allow for more. So, two of my favorite books.
Not only have I not read that one, I'm not sure I've heard of it. So I'm going to add that to my list, and we'll put the links to that right beneath this video and in the podcast. I'll check that out. That's a great recommendation. This is where I get to learn about new books as well. The Game of Life by Florence Scovel Shinn has changed my life. That it's such an eye opener. The first time I read it, then I got the audiobook. You can actually get the audiobook for free on YouTube. And I have the audio recording on my phone, and I listen to it multiple times a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never knew you could do that. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the thing with some of the older self-help books back from the Nightingale Conant and even earlier than that. There is a group called the Master Key Society. I think they're a nonprofit. And what they've done is all of these books that are now in the public domain, they read them, and they're available on the audiobooks. So you can get that book, you can get like The Science of Getting Rich, and all of these other just amazing
Classics.
yes, the classics, but they're what I love about them is they're not derivative work. They're like there was some of them are really original where there was an aha moment that caused them to write that book, and they're written at a time before, today everyone can be an author, right?
Correct.
There was a time where that wasn't true. And writing a book of any kind was a huge endeavor. And so I do really appreciate those classics because there's so much to be learned from them. The Game of Life has been just a wonderful book. So we'll put all the links there. And yeah, go check out the Master Key Society on YouTube. That you'll get a lot of the classics there for free on as audiobooks. So
I
there you
love
go.
that. What a bonus for me here. Good. Awesome. Thank
So
you. It was
yeah,
fun.
that's great. So thank you for the recommendations of the books. Thank you for all your wonderful information and your stories, your energy, your passion for this is just amazing. And as we bring this episode to a close, if you have any final words of wisdom or piece of advice for our audience, what would that be?
Do it now. Do it now. Keep on keeping on. Any of our setbacks is temporary, and just keep forging a line, keep moving.
I love that. Those are beautiful words to end this episode by. And you and I are just so on the same page about this. I love that. So go ahead over to our audience. If you've got something out of this today, make sure that there is one thing that you took away from this episode and go take action on that today. Maybe it's an idea, maybe it's a phone call, maybe it's a conversation or a connection you need to make that can make a difference in your business. Maybe it's to schedule a call with Marie. You can do that as well. We've got all of her links there beneath this video. And in the meantime, in your journey, in your pursuit of business, through all the ups and downs, remember that the only way to fail is to quit, and the path is forward. So keep moving forward, everybody, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.
Awesome.